PodMoth.
Tonight we'll chat about spooky hotels.
Ooh. So the hotel that I'm going to be talking about tonight is based in the beautiful wine country of Napa.
Mm,
And it is
I like
called-
wine. I'm drinking wine.
Who doesn't like wine? It's
Merlot.
called the Napa River Inn.
Never been.
Neither have I, but you can stay there. And I've actually looked it up to see if I could book a stay.
How much a night?
It's not cheap.
Well, it's wine country. Yeah.
It is wine country.
You have to pay extra for the ghosts.
Yeah, probably. They do have different packages. I didn't see any ghost packages, but there was a couple of different, like one of them comes with wine tasting. One of them is the basic stay the night type thing.
Fun.
Yeah. So before it was Napa River Inn, originally it was the Hat Building.
HAT?
HATT. It was the Hat Building and the Napa Mill Complex. This was back between 1884 and 1887.
Before I was born. Okay.
Yes. Just a couple years.
Yeah.
And it was part of Napa's oldest large brick industrial building. And it's long been considered among the most haunted places in all of Napa County.
Ooh.
Captain Alfred E. Hatt, who was born in Frankfurt, Germany on May 3rd, 1841, he had a long life of a seafarer, eventually becoming a boat captain, hence the Captain Alfred.
Wait, what's a seafarer? Like just a seaman?
I'm assuming because that's how he lived his life. And it says he eventually became a boat captain on the Sacramento River. Shout out to Sac.
Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
A person who regularly travels by sea, a sailor. Okay.
I like seafarer. I think it's kind of cool.
Sounds much more regal.
Well, yeah, he became a captain on the Sacramento River after his immigration in 1859. He then settled in Napa, and in 1884, he began construction on the buildings that would make his mark on Napa history. The Hat buildings from which the captain sold coal, grain, and vegetables are actually two closely linked large warehouses built of native brick. Due to his initial success, the complex expanded during 1886 to 1887 that is, to include government bonded warehouse where wines and spirits were housed.
So that's where it started, you think?
It's where it started. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about you were like, this captain, and now you have these warehouse buildings that are eventually are housing wines and things like that. It's just like
you could do anything back in the day.
I know, it's just why it's so crazy.
Come on over and open up a warehouse.
Yeah, I mean, you just came on over here and bought some buildings. So being a cornerstone of Napa's commercial industries, the Hat complex was also a center for community activity. So the second floor of the building, of this warehouse building, served as a skating rink. And it hosted numerous celebrations with bands, dances, obstacle courses, all kinds of crazy stuff.
In the 1800s?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Isn't that nuts? I didn't know they roller skated back then. Like, what were they roller skating on? A couple of Fred Flintstone logs and some rocks?
On square wheels?
I know, it's crazy. In the early 20th century, the former skating rink was used by the Napa Lookout Athletic Club as a basketball court and gym. Now today, the hotel rooms located on the second floor of the main building of the Napa River Inn are the original rock maple wood plank flooring, so they kept the same flooring in the hotel rooms, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, shit back then was made better.
Yeah.
Right? So then the second floor of Hat's bonded warehouse was used for community functions known as Hat Hall. It was utilized for secret society meetings and banquets. And for a time, it was even used as National Guard Armory. The site included a library. Now, this word, I don't even know what it means, and I'm shameful to say this, and I didn't look it up, but an anteroom.
Anter?
All one word, ANTEROOM.
An antechamber, typically serving as a waiting room. A sitting room and an officer's mess.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of like a hallway, like a waiting area. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like
What a fancy way.
the captain will see you now.
Yes.
And a dining area. In its current configuration as part of the Napa River Inn, Hat Hall is still used to this day for meetings and gatherings.
With secret societies?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe they're just wine meetings, but they're still using this room that was built back in the 1800s, which is kind of crazy. So the initial success of the Hat family did not hold well. In fact, by the later part of the 19th century, the family seemed cursed with misfortune, and death. In 1887, Hat's son, William, died aboard the ship that was en route to New York.
Did it say what of?
No, it just says he died. Shortly afterward, the couple, they lost their youngest daughter to diphtheria.
Oh, jeez.
Then in 1898, it brought the death of Hat's wife, Alma, causing Hat to leave day-to-day operations of the business to his eldest son, Albert Hat Jr. Now, Albert Hat Jr. was married to a woman named Margaret. Margaret was met with an untimely end, dying of cancer in 1906.
Cursed.
Albert Jr. was never the same after his wife died. So on April 1st, 1912, in ill health with a lot of financial woes and concerns about caring for their 5 children, Albert Hat Jr. took his own life.
Oh.
Yes. Apparently, he hung himself from the beams in the warehouse. So the local legend still has it that he haunts the site to this day.
And so the warehouse was how close to the inn?
I think it was all connected.
Yeah.
It's all connected. Right? So okay. Yeah, and they lived in the house on the property. Yeah. So they say that many of the reports are centered around the bakery, which is called Sweetie Pies, and customers have reported strange visual experiences, including apparitions of men who are bagging grain using old granary apparatus, which sits in the dining area still. The ghost of Alfred Hat Jr. has also been spotted hanging from the roof beams.
Ew. Okay.
Yes.
Bagging grain is one thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm just here to pick up a fucking cupcake, and now I got to see Alfred hanging from the rooftops. Like, what's going on at Sweetie Pies?
I'll take a cupcake, and can you take that guy down?
It's also been noted that visitors have encountered ghostly granary trucks. So then the elder Hat...
I see a whole truck apparition.
I don't know.
It's interesting.
But apparently it's reported quite a bit. So the elder Hat, which is captain, passed in 1913, not long after his son's death, and not before selling the warehouse holdings to the Keeg family. So now the Keegs have established the long-running Napa Milling, which eventually was bought out by one brother, Robert Edward Keeg. The granary and mill produced agricultural feed and sold farm supplies, and even developed vegetarian feed and mash products for Napa County's sizable Seventh-day Adventist community.
Wow.
I know, it's a mouthful. The mill closed in 1974 after Keeg's son retired from the business, ushering in a long period of vacancy. So now this one-time mill that was up and running for so long is now sitting vacant. There's just ghosts hanging about.
Himself in?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I probably wouldn't want to cook anything in there either.
Right. It's now sitting vacant, and it was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1979, but the fate of Hat and the mill complex was uncertain for so many years because of the period it was, I guess. And so the initial remodel proposal for the complex first surfaced not until 1986.
So it just sat vacant until then?
Yes. And it included plans to make an arcade, a supper club specializing in California haute cuisine, and a nautical memorabilia store. The renovation led by the current owner, Harry Price, it didn't get underway until 1992. Wow. The remodel was sought to preserve many of the historic features of the building, such as the silo tower ring above Napa's waterfront and the milling equipment that can be found in Sweetie Pie's bakery. So now Sweetie Pie's still has some of this original equipment inside the bakery.
Are they using it?
I don't know.
God, I hope not.
The elegant tin work and flooring can be found in Hat Hall and many of the Napa River Inn's hotel rooms as well. So some of the rooms have some of these original pieces and the flooring. Yeah. So the cornerstone of the renovated complex, the Napa River Inn, opened for business June 9th, 2000, along with other shops.
Really recent.
Right? It's not that long ago. Along with other shops and eateries, the hotel's presence helped usher in the revitalization, which has transformed Napa's downtown in recent years. They've actually talked to like hotel management and, asked stories or asked what they thought about it. And when they asked a manager of the hotel what she thought about ghosts that walk the halls, her quick reply to that was, well, which ghost?
Oh.
So it seems the inn is visited by more than one being, at least as reported by several self-described reliable witnesses. Lockman, who is the man.
Self-described reliable?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I'm reliable, I swear.
Yeah, I swear it. I swear to God. So Lockman, who's the manager, has worked at the hotel for 5 years since its planning stages, explained the history of the first ghost, which is thought to be the son of the building's original owner, Captain Albert Hatt. So they're saying that the first ghost that was ever witnessed was Albert Hatt Jr., the one who committed suicide.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Got it.
The manager goes on to say that it might be difficult to imagine Napa in the mid-1800s, but the river was then a bustling focus of trade in the valley. Industrial plants lined the shores, and the waterway was used to transport raw and manufactured goods as well as people. Captain Hatt's buildings, it was on more than 2 acres with adjacent wharves, were positioned in the midst of the activity.
What's that? A warb?
A wharf. W-H. No. War. Oh. Is that what it spells? No, not F. V. Wharves. Like a wharf.
Wharves. Why is
so not geese? So not goose, not a goose, but geese. I don't know.
Wharves.
Whores.
Why does it sound weird?
Probably because I'm speaking.
No, I'm just.
So, the other ghost sightings that have taken place are visions of a woman. It's a woman in a white dress who seems to be searching or looking for someone. The story goes that they think it's Margaret, who was the wife that died of cancer, the wife of Albert Jr.
Right.
Okay. Because she went before him. So they say that they think she's looking for him to try to stop him from taking his own life. And that, I guess, was actually, so I stand corrected, that was actually the first time someone had seen or heard of a ghost. The manager says that she admits to unusual occurrences that she just can't explain. Strange things just happen. In one room, a guest complained that someone kept turning off the fireplace and the room would get very cold. In fact, it was so cold it was bone chilling, almost like the air conditioning had been turned on. And this was happening while these guests were in their room.
I wonder why the presence of ghosts makes it so cold. Gotta look that up.
Isn't it because it's death?
I guess that would make sense.
When you're dead, you're cold, right? I mean,
yeah, it's always like associated when cold breeze or it's cold.
I mean, I'm sure there's more to it than that, but it just, to me, it seems like that might be why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not sure.
Unless you go to hell and then it's like a hot presence.
And then they talked to Larry Otis, who is the hotel's maintenance engineer. He said he didn't think much at first of the idea of ghosts roaming the halls. He thought it was just interesting and he enjoyed hearing the stories. But last year, in preparation for a celebration for the Napa River Inn being named in the National Trust of Historic Hotels, the building was decorated with a ton of old photographs of the Hatt family. And the building engineer said, I was in the storeroom cleaning my painting supplies. Above me, stacked on the shelves, were plastic glassware bins, he said. They suddenly flew off the shelves as if someone had kicked them. He says he paused a moment, remembering the sight. Literally and honestly, there was no explanation. It was pretty odd that would happen during a great celebration for the hotel. He said he felt no malevolent force, just that everything went flying off without anyone else being in the room with him.
That's kind of rude, though. Like,
right?
Just flip a light switch or something.
I know. It says Jerry Holloway, which I'm not sure who this is. Jerry Holloway also has been with the hotel since prior to its official opening. First as a security guard at night and then a night auditor. He is currently the senior bell captain. Holloway, who is 62, retired from a civil service job before working for the inn and speaks in no-nonsense manner of the period before the hotel was open for guests. He says, I would be there by myself and the elevator kept going up and down. Elevators can be adjusted to go down, but they cannot go up by themselves.
Interesting. I didn't know.
They cannot be adjusted to go up. They can be adjusted to go down by themselves.
Ew.
He goes on to say, more than once I heard doors open and close where nobody was when he was certain he was alone in the building. He's walked down the hall and had many hair on the back of his neck stand on end. A guest has recently complained that she'd put clothes in a drawer and closed it. And when she turned back around, the drawer was open.
Ooh.
That's very paranormal right there.
Yeah.
Right? He says this has happened twice in the same room. Holloway says that the guests seem... Well, I'll get to it.
Oh.
Holloway said the guests seem quite understanding when the staff explains that a ghost may be responsible for various occurrences. So it's like they know what they're in for. Like
yeah, and they
know
just
what's
say,
going
"Oh,
on.
it's a ghost," and everybody accepts that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So one guest, she says she wrote online that she had an eerie experience, and she's stayed at the inn 3 different times. She said she heard a heavy dress sway down the hall. So when I hear that, I'm guessing like the old timey, like
like brushing up against the
right, like the real fabric, the big, heavy, the swishing of the dress. Yeah. She says a door opened right across the hall in room number 208 and then shut. I then heard hard footsteps on what sounded like a man walking. A door at the other end of the hall, number 207, opened, then closed with a force. I heard walking down the hallway toward room 208. Room 208 is directly above Sweetie Pie's, where Alfred Hatt Jr. reportedly hung himself.
Right. And is that where the drawer opened and closed?
Yes. So apparently the 2 rooms that are haunted are room 208 and 207.
Okay.
So most people who stay in those rooms have reported the drawer opening, the fireplace being turned off, and the air conditioning feeling it so cold, like the air was on, even though the air wasn't on.
Right.
And then the women and the men walking from room to room have both been in room 208 and 207. And when asked, nobody was occupying these rooms at the time. These rooms were vacant.
Right. Can you tell those people to quiet down? What people?
Right. Yeah. Could you imagine calling down there and being like, there's nobody in there?
That would be me complaining about the neighbors.
You're cuckoo. Supposedly, people who work in Sweetie Pie's, which is, again, the bakery, in the middle of the room, there's a grain bagging machine that still remains. And although I guess one of the main people who works there hasn't experienced it, other people who work for the bakery have experienced hearing late night shuffling or just felt these really heavy vibes in the room when they were by themselves in the bakery closing.
Ugh.
Yeah. So there's more people who go on to talk about ghost experience that they've had at the Napa River Inn. 2 friends recently visited the hotel for the very first time. The couple encountered a man coming down the stairway and asked him the location of the restaurant. The man said, "This is no dining establishment. This is Napa Milling, and I'm the owner, Robert Keeg."
What?
Mm-hmm. After they walked past him, they noted a distinct smell of hay and grain. When they turned around, he had already vanished. Later, they saw a photograph of Robert Keeg, who purchased the mill from Captain Hatt in 1912, and they went ballistic. The man in the photo was the man they encountered on the stairs that night.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking 1912. Ain't nobody living still.
But that hay smell will linger on, I guess.
Right? That sense of smell when we've all had that where we've smelled things that shouldn't be there. So they go on to say it's definitely haunted. They stayed the night and heard footsteps outside the door and machines running downstairs, just like other people who have stayed there have reported.
Did they stay in those rooms?
It doesn't say if they were in those exact rooms, but they could still hear it from wherever they were.
Creepy. There's nothing like on their site about, like, some people embrace the ghost things. It's part of our amenities. We have ghosts, but
it's not.
They don't
They don't shut it off, but they don't like. Yeah.
How come I've never stayed anywhere like that?
I know, right? Me either. I kind of want to though.
I do. I want to until like nightfall, and then I think I would shit my pants.
So to date, the Napa River Inn is constantly getting reservations and people asking if they can stay in one of the haunted rooms. A lot of people specifically request room 207 or 208. And it's actually been featured on the Travel Channel as one of the Bay Area's most haunted hotels.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there you have it. I mean, a family who immigrated here, had bad luck with death.
Very. Sold
the property, and apparently they just didn't want to leave.
I wouldn't either.
They're still milling about.
I get it. Napa Mill. That's creepy. At least it's nothing malevolent.
Yes.
Which is interesting because mine is not very malevolent either, but creepy.
No?
It's like we're easing into this.
Yes, I agree. It's not the scariest story told.
No.
However,
you gotta ease into it.
But when you think about, when you go to a hotel, it's supposed to be like you're home away from home because you obviously are traveling or whatnot.
Yeah, or you just want to relax.
Right. And then when someone shuts off your fireplace without your permission or shuffling their big lousy feet down the hallway onto the hard wooden floors,
I'm
it's a
looking
little
at
annoying.
Captain Hat's suite right now.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, deep red walls. That
Mm-hmm.
always makes me laugh. These rooms that are like these historic places, they put, the flat screen TV in there. It just doesn't look right.
I know. I'm surprised they do that.
I want to sit there and just listen to people shuffling down the hall.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I mean, like I was saying, it may not be the scariest of ghost stories, but I'm sorry, I would be a little freaked out if I actually encountered a walking ghost and they spoke to me, or if I saw a random woman in a flowy, old-timey white dress searching for someone in the middle of the hotel that clearly doesn't belong there.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to freak me out, and I really want to stay there to see if it happens. I think we should make a trip out of it and do it.
I think we should.
Yes. There you have it. The Haunted Napa River Inn.
Yes, I liked that. It's very exciting.
Not too spooky.
No,
but it's legit. I mean, so many people have talked about it and experienced the same things that, who knows?
And Napa, that we grew up kind of near, never knew about that. Mm-hmm. And so recent.
I didn't either. And the more I looked into it, I was finding stories that there's like a few haunted hotels and properties in Napa.
Oh, really?
Like, I think we should just make a day out of it.
Yeah.
We'll find all the haunted places.
Okay, lots of wine first, and then I'll conk out, and I won't even.
Maybe some of the wine tours are haunted. That would be fun, right?
Awful Merlot. So for our listeners, do you have a freaky story you want to share?
If so, go to our website at freakyfridayspodcast.com, where you can email us or find us on Instagram at freakyfridayspod. So what do you got for me tonight, Michelle?
All right. Well,
I want the hairs on the back of my arms to stand up.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting story, and like yours, isn't super scary, but I thought this would be really good for us to ease into it because,
it's like easing into spring break, right? You go to the airport.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a beer or a Bloody Mary.
Yeah, you don't start with the bourbon at 9 a.m.
No, there's no shots or cocaine going at 9 a.m.
Tequila and, meth yet. No. Yet. Beginning of spring break. Here we go. Okay, so I did mine on the Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco. So a hop, skip, and a jump away from yours. This hotel,
the Queen Anne.
Yeah, it's very, to me, it was very unknown. I didn't even know about this. Are you okay?
Just spilled tea all over my, apparently I don't know how to drink.
You got a hole in your lip?
Ghost did it.
Oh, okay. So the Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco is located at 1590 Sutter Street, and it was originally built in 1890 as Miss Mary Lake's School for Girls, a boarding school or a day school or an etiquette or finishing school, whatever you want to call it. It's basically where girls...
Just because you're being a fucking little bitch and I'm going to send you away school?
Probably, yeah. Yeah. The building is a Victorian mansion, and it's in the Queen Anne architectural style. So that's why they call it the Queen Anne Hotel. And they decorated it in the painted lady style, which is similar to the other places around San Francisco. So it's, pinks and whites and pretty painted lady styles. So this place started because millionaire James Graham Fair, which is actually, he is the namesake of the Fairmont Hotel. He financed the building of the school, and it was rumored he did it to provide a stable environment for his daughters when away from his ex-wife. He incessantly cheated on his ex-wife, and they divorced, and she won a large settlement in the divorce. She won $4.25 million, and this is back in 1890.
I didn't even know that much money existed back then.
Right. I should have done the math. I don't know what that would be now, but that's a lot of freaking money.
Holy.
So it was like the biggest of the time too. So it was probably all over the newspapers. Miss Mary Lake became the head mistress of the school. And despite affair rumors with James Fair, there's no proof that they were ever involved. They both denied it vehemently.
Can we pause right here? And I have a question. Okay. Why do they always call them the head mistress?
I don't know, but I looked it up. A headmistress is a woman in charge of a school or a principal.
No, a mistress is someone you have on the side.
But if you put head in front of it, apparently it makes you scholarly.
Oh, I bet if you put head in front of a mistress, it would make you a scholar.
For somebody.
Yeah.
So I was watching YouTubes, and one of them they were staying at the Queen Anne, and they said, and the mistress here, Miss Mary Lake. And I was like, she wasn't a mistress. She was a principal in charge of the school. So it's very different. You don't call her a mistress. You have to specify headmistress.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Anyway, old school terminology, headmistress, it's canceled. No more. But besides having these like affair rumors, she paid $400 a month to live at the school and work there. So I don't think that they had any kind of involvement. I actually wanted to show you. This is Miss Mary Lake.
That's the headmistress?
That is the headmistress. Miss Mary Lake School for Girls, 1891 to 1900 is when she was headmistress there. And it's very hard to find anything about this woman besides her
she's a mistress
becoming the principal and then dying, and that was it. Oh, spoiler alert, she dies.
That was inevitable.
Just yeah, I mean, we're 1890 we're talking. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me show you a picture of James Fair.
Oh, he's got quite the beard.
So he actually was quite a philanderer. Is that what you call it? He had like 3 wives, cheated all the time.
That picture is so, like, it looks old-timey, but it also looks like it was made to look old-timey, if that makes sense.
You went to the Alameda County Fair and you were taking an old vintage picture.
Yeah. Like, doesn't his face look kind of youngish and like...
Yeah.
But then when you looked at her...
I love their filters back then.
She looked like an old-timey person.
Doesn't she look like the Handmaid's Tale chick?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she does. But do you know what I mean? Like, you look at them from back then and they all like kind of looked the same.
Mm-hmm.
They have this very like, it's almost like a depressed blank stare in their face.
It was 1890. Yeah, I would be depressed.
They didn't smile back then. It was so weird.
Yeah, look at that. He has total resting bitch face. Yeah. So Miss Mary Lake headed up the school for 6 years. And after James Fair's death, and due to the Depression, not the Great Depression, but the Panic of 1896, which was an economic depression. I'm doing a lot of air quotes because I don't know what any of this means, but it's basically like a freak out of the market. They thought it was going to crash. So it was called the Panic of 1896. He dies. He leaves the building to his daughters in his will, and they don't want to keep the boarding school open. So after that closed, they sold it to a men's club in 1899, and it was rumored to be like this secret society, which is funny because you were talking about the secret societies. After various uses, including a brothel, in 1980, so not that long ago, the building was renovated and became the Queen Anne Hotel. They made a 48-room posh bed and breakfast. And from the videos I've seen, there are random porcelain dolls, and that is enough to spook me.
Very like sporadic throughout the hotel.
Yes.
Dolls and clowns are just creepy. They're not necessary.
Right.
I feel like they come alive at night when we're sleeping.
Probably like a bad Toy Story.
What in God's name is that?
So it's the chandelier, and then above it, it's like a bunch of girl busts in this inlay of, I don't know what the name of that thing is, but that's frightening in itself. I wish people who are listening to this could see this picture because I'm thinking of putting it on the Instagram. Check out Instagram, Freaky Fridays Pod, and you will see these creepy pictures that we're looking at.
That's like so Hansel and Gretel looking to me. Like,
yes, but like
she was shoved in the light fixture and murdered
really
that way.
Those are made of her ashes.
It's so creepy. That's just no. That's
weird, right? The paranormal activity at the Queen Anne is alleged to be Miss Mary Lake, who some say haunt the hotel because she was not ready for it to be sold. But interesting enough, she didn't die there. She died in New Jersey, like 3,000 miles away. Maybe she liked to travel. I don't know.
Yeah.
And most of the activity is in room 410, which was her office while principal of the school. And it is now a room.
Can you stay in that room?
you can stay in that room. And even if it wasn't haunted, I would go because it has a bidet.
Oh, well, that would seal the deal for me right there.
Yeah. Well, you probably need it from shitting yourself. So, about the ghost encounters that people have experienced, they captured orbs in the room when taking photographs. They've felt a presence. Those staying in room 410 also report unusual sounds with no apparent cause, unsettling tapping. Not sure what that's all about. Other people have reported the sensation of someone touching them or even stroking their hair, and nobody's...
Okay, that's where I would draw the fucking line and leave the room.
Yeah, don't touch me.
Right.
The people have witnessed and even captured on camera shadowy figures moving throughout the hotel. And what's interesting, kind of similar to yours, is guests describe the ghost presence as friendly, like not malevolent, not scary, but like comforting almost. So people say that she will sing in the night, mysteriously unpack suitcases, which
hey, bitch, put all my clothes away from me.
Please do. That sounds great.
And sing me to sleep.
Tuck guests in, pulling covers over them while they're half asleep. It's like the ghost wants everyone to feel at home. They experience cold spots sleeping in that room, and they've seen a ghost or her wandering in the hallway, looking at herself in the mirror, and sometimes playing the piano in the lobby. There was like 10 pianos in there at one time, because I guess as a school they were learning to be pianists.
Learning to be
penises. Mary Lake was revered by her former students and heavily grieved when she passed in New Jersey in 1904. On her 55th birthday, she died.
Wait, so she passed in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Does it say what she died from?
Does not. There's also on one of the floors, there's a bishop's chair, which they thought might have been left over from one of like the secret society things. And some people have reported when they sat in the chair and put their arms on the armrests, it felt like someone had placed a hand on their arm, but in a comforting fashion. I know. I don't get that. If I feel anything touching me, I'm freaking out.
Yeah. Especially if I can't see it.
Yeah. So I read some Yelp reviews on this place, and one from 2018 says, we were placed in the room below 410. So they were placed in room 310, and we had some wacky moments that made it seem like this place is certainly haunted, like smelling a distinct perfume waft through the room and green-blue colored orbs following us around in our pictures. My husband and I love that stuff, so it made for an interesting stay.
Yeah.
There was another review back in 2017 that says, we booked a room on the 4th floor to capture a deeper part of history, and we were encountered by some roommates, quote unquote. We didn't stay in room 410, but in room 412, and still noticed quite a bit of activity. It wasn't disturbing, but more so inviting. During the night, we were woken up about 3 times and heard knocking, and the wardrobe door was left open, and we noticed it trying to shut by itself, but that was as weird as it got, other than misty figures flickering through the room. Sorry, that was a tongue twister. But this person is obviously very comfortable with ghosts, because any of that stuff I would have been like running down in my underwear.
Yeah.
Another review said, we knew nothing of the hotel supposedly being haunted. I half awoke one night to experience a feeling like someone was tucking me in and gently pushing on my collarbone. I thought it was strangely comforting feeling. So it's like, it's weird all these people feel this.
Are these people just really lacking like companionship or something that they're finding this comforting? I mean, is it just me who thinks it's odd that you find it comforting?
I don't think I've ever
something you
felt
cannot
any
see.
kind of feeling or pressure on me that I was like, oh, that feels nice. That wasn't like a massage.
Not when it's someone you can't see or know.
Haunting presence. I don't know.
Right.
So there's also a ghost walking tour. I think it's Wild SF Tours that does a ghost walking tour, and they start at the Queen Anne Hotel. And one thing I read is that they talk about a headless woman in one of the windows. Like they stand outside and they talk about a headless woman in one of the windows there, but I couldn't find anything else about that. And I'm guessing because it's a tour, they're probably like, don't go posting all this stuff because we make money off of it. So that is the Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco.
All one ghost making all this ruckus.
Yeah, but a comforting ruckus.
Sounds fun though. Yeah, like I kind of want to go to see like what the fuss is about with this lady and her touch.
And it's funny, after doing all this research on how everybody felt that it was comforting and everything, if you watch it on YouTube, it was like so scary, and it looks like they're setting things up, and they do a seance in one of the rooms.
The hotel offers a seance?
No, I think it's just like a conference room, but they did a seance.
But they offer a seance?
They did it. The YouTubers did a seance in there. I don't think they offer it as a service. It's not under the amenities.
I thought, like, that's a cool amenity.
But they just try to make it sound so scary, and everybody else is saying how like comforting it is. So,
right, that's the thing. Like, I think it's because of obviously because of the word haunted. When you say like it's a haunted house or a haunted hotel, your mind automatically goes to like the worst scenarios.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like scary, and I'm gonna like freak out, and I'm not gonna be able to sleep, or. But these people are legit saying that this woman comforted them, which I think is really cool. Again, not my cup of tea. I don't want someone touching me.
Now, if you're going to put away my clothes, that's kind of a nice
for it. Do it, please.
Yeah.
But I'm also at the same time really like intrigued by this calmness that they felt. Like, would it help my anxiety? Should I go stay the night here?
Maybe.
And see if she can relax me, sing me a sweet lullaby, and touch my collarbone, apparently. For you and I, we'd probably go to one of these places and it would turn into The fucking Shining, is what it would turn into.
We could dress up as the twins again.
We could.
Maybe they'll leave us alone if we do that.
We should do that and just stand in a hotel hallway, stare at people and see if they do anything. Just stand there.
Imagine.
If we had a room, they couldn't kick us out of the hotel because we're just standing in the hallway.
Bloody.
You know what I'm saying? If we just stand there, holding hands, we don't even have to speak. We don't have to say anything but stand there. We're not doing anything wrong. I'm willing to try it. What's the worst they're going to do? Tell you can't stand there and scare the guests?
Yeah.
We're just having some fun. Who'd have thought? Like within just 20 minutes to an hour or so for me, there's a couple of haunted hotels.
Oh God, I think
I could just visit and go hang out in.
Yeah, I think it's probably closer than you think.
Definitely more than two of them. There's
other hotels that we should look into doing another episode on.
Definitely.
And this is just California. Wait till we move out of state.
Exactly. Where all the real shit happens. Well, that was a great story. Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome. Don't forget to go to FreakyFridaysPodcast.com and subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast listening platform.
Join us next week for a new freaky tale.